Hi, this is Pastor Sam from Cross of Christ Lutheran Church. I'm coming to you today after a week of continuing education where I stayed home and did a self-study of the Rule of Benedict, which is not typical Lutheran literature that we study, but instead it was a text that was written by Benedict of Nursia, who was born around 480 AD. And his rule, it's like a little pamphlet, was the outline for how monks and nuns ought to live their lives in a community. So why in the world did I read this? I do not live in a monastery. Most of you who are watching this probably do not live in a monastery. But there are parts of this rule that when we think about a community, it doesn't have to be a monastery. It could be the community of our family, of our town, our neighborhood, our country, the world. And I think in these days, in this time, it's probably really important to take a good look at how we interact with others and where we see Jesus in other people. So I did this reading and I did a pretty extensive self-study, a lot of prayer, a lot of note-taking, and a lot of seeing what in the world could I take away from this very old writing written for monks and nuns, what I could take from it and what I could learn and what I can hopefully share with others. And one of the first things that struck me, the reason I decided to do this study, was what I knew about the Rule of Benedict was this idea of intentionality and having a purpose for everything that we do. And that really sort of stuck out to me. And I thought that that might be a very interesting direction to take my study. So I was thinking, why do we do the things that we do? Why do we wash our dishes? Why do we plant a garden? Why do we like to go for a walk after dinner with a loved one? Or why do we go to the movies or watch a baseball game? Why do we do these things? What purpose does it serve? And what attitude do we have while we are doing these things? Are we grumpy while we're doing our chores? Or are we maybe so absorbed in a movie or a sporting event that we actually lose contact with those who are sitting right next to us? Now, the main goal of this entire rule is to teach us, as I said, how to live in community, how to love and serve God and our neighbor. And the daily schedule that is in the rule is a schedule of prayer and work, and it's all designed to always keep our eyes on God. So I did some reading, I did some studying, and I did some discerning, and I came up with 4 ideas that I can incorporate in my daily schedule of prayer and work. And I wanted to share them with you because I thought maybe these could be helpful to you, or maybe they could get you thinking at the very least on why we do the things they do. How do they impact those in our community, people around us? How does our attitude about doing work, how does that affect people around us as well? So the 4 things that I came up with, and these are in no particular order, is there's a quote I wrote down from Sister Joan Chittister, who has written a modern commentary on the Rule of Benedict and how it can be used for people outside of a monastery. And she writes, "There must be no such thing as the idle decision or the thoughtless act." So the idea is that everything that we do, we should maybe know why we're doing it, and we should have some grander purpose. And maybe if we can find some way of going out of our way to glorify God, then let's do that. If I want to go to the movies, maybe I will wear a shirt with a Christ-like slogan on it, for instance. That might be another way that we could do that. Another thing that I came out of this study with is let no task or thing absorb so much of us that we lose contact with God. Now, a lot of you know that I like to garden. Well, when I garden, I can promise you, my thoughts are absorbed, but usually I'm going over a prayer list in my head or ideas for what to preach on a Sunday or who I might need to contact for pastoral care. But there are other activities that I do. Sometimes when I'm cooking dinner, I'm not thinking about anything at all. And yes, it's good to shut down your brain from time to time, but other times you need to know why you are doing certain things. Especially when you're cooking, your food could get burnt, you could get hurt. But we should always know our purpose, and also don't let other thoughts absorb so much of us that we lose focus on what we're doing. This next one makes me chuckle a little bit. Do not grumble when going about work. Our daily work is an opportunity to serve others. And this really is just a bit of reframing that I know out of all 4 of the things that I have chosen, this one will be the hardest for me. I can grumble quite a bit if given the opportunity. So now when I see a sink full of dirty dishes, I might say, look, my family is fed. I am grateful that my family is fed. I am grateful that we had food. I'm grateful that I have cleaning things to make them sanitary again so we don't get sick. Those are the kinds of ways that we can reframe our chores that we have to do that we might otherwise grumble about. So the last thing is actually the most surprising thing that I've added to my list, and it is starting the day in prayer or gratitude, which, because I'm a minister, I pray a lot during the day, but I don't think I ever intentionally set out first thing in the morning after I have my coffee. I am now sitting down and I'm praying and I'm writing down a list of things I'm grateful for, and I'm reading some devotions instead of mindlessly scrolling on social media or the news or things that might not be so helpful for me right now. So I'm starting the day in prayer. And when I do this first thing in the morning, I never thought of myself as a morning person before, but I am finding that that is when I can give God the first and most quality bit of my attention. It's sort of that idea of giving God your first fruits. Apparently, I think much clearer in the morning, which I only discovered by going through this process. So if any of these ideas seem like something you might want to try, go ahead. If you need other ideas or want to talk to me about any of these, please feel free to contact me. I would love to talk to you more about it. And there's so much more that the rule covers that I couldn't begin to condense into a video. But if you have any questions or thoughts, please let me know. And otherwise, I will see you all next week. Bye.